And welcome to Two Gray Goatees and a Whistle. I'm your host, Coach Huddy, along with the coach's wife, Amanda.
Hello.
And today's episode, we are going to look back at the Olympics somewhat.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to talk about, there was a lot of good things we saw at the Olympics this year. We saw a ice skater who did a backflip and 4.5 turns. And then we saw a men's and women's hockey do great. There was another U.S. woman did really good at gold for the ice skating. We saw a lot of medals came this year. I think it was one of their better years for winter. Because usually winter we're okay. We're never like great,
Yeah.
but I think we got a lot of medals this year compared to most. So we got that going on today. We also got Would You Rather questions, and we got your mascot of the week
Okay.
coming up. And so we'll start out with the Olympics. All right. So I want to talk about what goes on behind a lot of people don't see. And I've got questions from kids. Sometimes they were watching some of the events. I had them on during class, and I remember having curling, and one of the kids was like, wow, really good curling. How much do they get paid? I have to explain to them, well, it's not really a profession that you get into. I mean, I think there's probably leagues and stuff like that, but it's not going to be a full-time
Probably
job.
like a bowling league.
Yeah. And I know
It's more just for the enjoyment of it.
Yeah, and I know like in Boise, I know that they have a place where you can learn how to curl and stuff like that. They got a curling club. So, there's places around, but locally, at least for us, Boise's probably the closest. I don't think they have any ice rinks maybe they might offer it up in Haley. That'd probably about the only place that they have it as an ice rink.
I did learn something new about curling. I did not know that one of their shoes was slick and the other one had spikes on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you got one that so they can go down
they can slide, or they can get traction.
or they can go down.
Sweep.
Yeah, sweep. Yeah, and then they had these little things that went over them. It was kind of cool little
It's like that.
slipper.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can't double tap too. That was a big controversy. The double tap. And there was and I was like thinking, because most of the time, because you're right next to your opponent and and they were actually got a little upset because they're saying that
I don't know. To me, just watching it, I would have never thought that it would have been okay to reach down there and tap the.
Well, it's like he
already let go of it.
Well, you let go and then
and
you could see that his hand went over and his finger kind of gave a little extra poke, and that was the controversy. But whatever. I don't
know all the rules, but to me, it seems like a no-brainer that once you let go of it, you cannot physically touch it anymore.
Right.
But
he took offense to that too. He was very
they were all
up in arms, and so I'm not sure how they.
But there's a lot at stake, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to talk about, first thing we're going to talk about is everybody sees the highlights. They see the flag, the podium, the anthem, the tears, but the story has a whole other layer, and layers of receipts, rankings, rule books, random drug testing, and stuff like that goes on at the Olympics. So we're answering one question. What does it actually take to get there to the Olympics? What does it take? There's a lot.
Am I answering this?
That's what we're going to look into. So, we know obviously that you have to have a talent in whatever you're competing in, right? And we know that there's training centers for some of these events and stuff like that, but there's more to that than just going to a training center, and there's some hidden.
I think it takes a level of dedication that most people will never understand.
Right. And that goes there. And we'll talk about a little more about, oh, you only got silver medal, you only got the bronze. It's like, are you kidding me?
Piss off.
Yeah.
Where's your Olympic uniform?
You're kidding. Anyway, so we'll kind of get into that a little bit, but we're not talking about the motivational stuff. We're talking about the cost, the qualification, the restrictions, the strenuous drug testing that they do that a lot of times people don't hear about. So
unless it goes wrong.
Right. Unless it goes wrong. You hear your name because you popped the test.
Yeah.
Let's start with the blunt truth. For a lot of sports, the pipeline is expensive.
Oh.
Yeah. You can be a world class and still be broke. It's the crazy thing as that you
always makes me think of like people who are like committed to things like rodeo.
Yeah.
Where they're spending $200,000 on a trailer, $100,000 on a truck, $40, $10,000 on a horse to go and pay to compete. And then unless you're in the top whatever, you're not making anything back.
Yeah. So
if it's your thing, it's your thing. But
yeah,
it's kind of crazy to me, the amount of money that is spent.
So rodeo would be a really good example of that. I think for us, anybody in this area that,
Yeah.
local area, that we have rodeos around there. Winter sports, especially, just starting equipment can be hundreds of dollars. There was a recently laid out how entry level skiing gear can land up to $600 to $800 range, and
That's
that's
just see if you
yeah,
like the sport.
yeah.
If you have any
Per even talk
any
about the
promise.
sports requiring specialized sleds, high end travel circuits. So, and that's just the starting line. High performance versions, constant upgrades, repairs, shipping gear internationally, coaches, wax techs, training equipment at altitude, ice time, track time, and then travel. A lot of Olympic sports qualifications happen on circuits and require you to be on the road constantly. The clear example of this that was published by McLean's said first person breakdown from an athlete describes the national team fee around $23,000. That is covering your chunk of your travel, accommodations, competition, plus additional off-season training costs.
Well, how big of a team?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. If you're sending 5 people, maybe.
right.
But if you're sending,
well,
100 people,
it really depends on what the sport is. I mean, in the Winter Olympics, one team, let's say a bobsled team, that's your let's say it's a 14 bobsled team plus your coaches. Plus, and I don't know if they have anybody who specializes in fixing their working on their sleds.
We were watching Cool Runnings.
Mm-hmm.
One of my, because we have AB scheduled for some of my classes, and when you have a holiday, throws everything off. So they were a little ahead anyways, but then they were really ahead. So I was like, okay, in the lieu of, the Olympics, we'll watch Cool Runnings. So that the other class has a little bit of time to catch up. And then in the movie, they purchase the bobsled for $10,000. And it's a hunk of rust.
Yeah.
What does a bobsled cost now? Like a real one.
Right.
Like
the ones that they're using. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine because that was like the '88 Olympics
That's
or
what I'm
something like
saying.
that. So yeah, that was
the time frame alone, let alone that it was like, and it was
20,
like
30 years later.
Practice sled that was like falling
Yep.
apart.
Yeah, it's expensive. So so when fans ask why don't more people do the sport, the answer is sometimes is because the sport itself is a plane ticket. And so so when you're saying that not always the best athlete wins, sometimes the best athletes can have to be able to afford that path.
Oh yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Unless and I know that there's recruiting and stuff that goes on. I know like at least for bobsled teams and stuff like that, based on people I've talked to, luge and stuff like that, they always look to track people.
Yeah.
They'll go to track and the person
some speed.
When I interviewed Will Persons, who was part of the bobsled team, he did track, or we were stating, so that's what got him into that sport. So there's recruiting that happens and stuff like that. But because it's when you have some of these sports that are very niche or unique, I mean, it's not hockey. We have hockey leagues. There's a professional circuit. Hockey's pretty big in Europe and stuff like that. So there's a large pool and stuff like that, and stuff for different hockey teams. If we're talking about Olympics, skiing, relatively popular sport, snowboarding, stuff like that, finding talent, stuff like that. But still, it comes down to the cost. There could be somebody who's extremely talented, but if they don't know the right people, don't get the right sponsors or something like that, they're not necessarily the best person's going. The best person who has the money gets to go.
Yeah, and that makes sense, especially in the Winter Olympics. The Summer Olympics, there are some sports that are going to cost you money. But let's be honest, half of the sports take place around a track and all you got to do is be able to run. Like it's a little different as far as like cost and restrictions go in that department, I guess.
Yeah. So in some sports you get what you call federation support. You got sponsors, you got a strong club system that subsidize some of this stuff. So there's some countries that subsidize.
You're representing a country,
right?
Representing
and so you get some of the stuff you get subsidized for some of their stuff through some of these sports, but some of the less popular sports, like maybe the the cross country events where they're shooting rifles and stuff like that. That's how much is that?
Well, how do you even? Yeah.
So, in the U.S., the money puzzle can be extra complicated because the U.S. Olympics and Paralympics movement leans heavily on sponsorship and private funding, not directed from the government.
Yeah.
Where some of these countries do get funding from their government. There's support programs. They call it the USOPC athletic benefits, even health insurance for the designated athletes. But you typically have to reach a certain level to qualify for these supports.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
if you're donating money and you're expecting to see results from it, you're not going to be donating to the person that may or may not even qualify. I mean, that makes sense.
And like I said before, when one of my students brought up about curling, these people have other jobs.
Yes, that's not their day job.
They're not their day job. No, so some of these guys might be teachers or
whatever.
They got their own profession, so but something that allows them to.
It's like a hobby.
Yeah,
that's gone off the rails.
and they have to budget it too, so they're juggling two jobs. And one of their jobs is their sport, where they might have literally two jobs.
I wonder if they'll ever. This is kind of off track, but our son-in-law loves disc golf, and he goes and does. I wonder if they'll ever put disc golf as a summer Olympic sport.
I don't know. Good. They've had a lot of other things.
I mean, it's more and more and more popular.
Yeah.
And he goes and I mean, I think there's tournaments every weekend if he could afford it, and he's
right.
And Kelly was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd like to see you gone every weekend," but.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I know they seem like they add sports. Like, the next Summer Olympics is, flag football's coming into play, and they've had golf, and they've had, wasn't it? I don't know, some card game.
Uno. No, Uno was going to be in the casinos in Vegas. Still where it cuts. Yeah. I'm still curious about that one. How does that work? If I throw a draw two at you, do I get money?
It was some card game. There was some card game that was going to be an Olympic. That was an Olympic.
That doesn't seem like an Olympic sport. Like, where's the?
I don't know.
Prowess in that?
Well, it's
anyway,
I'm not gonna. So yeah, it's fine. So let's talk about the next part here. Let's talk about how you even qualify. Okay. So qualifications. A lot of people assume that you win the trial, you book your ticket. No, that's just a lot of Olympic qualifications is built around quota spots, limited entries per country, rankings, and federation selection decisions. It is explained. There's a breakdown where you have the big buckets, team qualifications, individual ranking pathways, regional qualifications, and the process for reallocating unused quota places.
So when they say quota places, is that kind of like per your country's capita, or is it per? Does it have to do with the amount of athletics in your country? How do they decide that?
This will explain it. Okay. Hopefully this explains it a little bit more. You might be the third best athlete in the country, but if your country already has maxed out on its quota, you could be out.
Well, that's what I mean. Where are they getting this quota from? Who's giving them this quota?
Or is your country earning slots, and then the National Olympic Committee or Federation decides who fills them, sometimes with trials, sometimes with selection rubric. So it's basically up to those committees and countries.
There's this committee being like, France pissed me off. We're going to take away 10 of their spots.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's amount of money that
the U.S. is really screwing up.
Well, we know that countries do get. They sometimes they can't represent their country if they're like in a war.
Well,
we've seen
political and,
stuff.
Yeah,
and they can't represent that.
And I guess,
flag. And it's no fact.
I get that in the aspect that right now your country is doing something. It sucks for the athletes.
Yeah, it does,
because you can't represent your homeland. But I understand from the Olympic point of view. From the Olympics themselves point of view.
Yeah.
But they can compete under like no nation or.
Yeah, it's like the Olympic flag itself. Yeah.
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 So they can. They just can't represent their own.
Yeah. So, the official qualification documents, for example, Olympics published, there's a PDF, like the world climbing. Apparently climbing is going to be a qualification system for the LA Games. So, so I don't know how much is it with that country, how much they put into the Olympics, or how much they maybe this is what you can afford. So you're allowed. Well, and it's crazy because just depending on your country too, and what kind of sports you can have that area, you might only be able to.
Well, yeah, you might only have access to certain sports, certain facilities.
Because some of these winter games, that when the Winter Olympics happen, there's obviously countries that don't really have snow. And so the chances of you're going to get somebody in that Olympic, unless it's, like Jamaica was popular for the bobsled. But overall, you're not going to get a lot of these countries. So I don't know how much that plays into it too.
Well, and the economics of a country makes a big difference
Yeah,
too.
you got some
Because,
countries,
like we
and
said, the Winter Olympics are quite a bit more expensive, seem to be,
yeah, and then I'm sure it's crazy.
versus just putting on a pair of tennis shoes and running.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I'm sure there's different. And we watched it when we watch the opening ceremonies. You see one or two people representing, and it could be wrestling,
Yeah,
or it could have been
for sure.
boxing, or they're running,
Still
they're in one
cool.
of the running events and stuff like that, and they're like the only. And that to me, it's amazing, and I'm sure there's a lot of pride behind that. Just the fact that you get to go to that, even if they might not even medal.
No,
It's the fact that you're
I'm
there.
sorry. I know we live in especially our country, and I'm sure it's this way for a lot of countries, the value we place on whether or not you won something is insane when it's compared to the value of that athlete being able to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like, you didn't win gold. Well, never mind the fact that this person has been they've been qualified for 4 Olympics.
Yeah.
So what? They didn't stand on the podium. Like,
Right.
Seriously, I couldn't even get past the first level.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like that little snippet thing we've seen. And they're like, you have to get to a level 10 to be in the Olympics. And these little kids are talking about it. And
Yep.
they're like, you have to be able to do this, this, and this. And he like misses it by like 1. And they're like, oh, you got a 9. Doesn't work. And then he's standing there and the guy in front of him, he's like, what level are you? 34. I didn't even know it went that high.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes back to qualifications here, it can change from cycle to cycle. I think it really depends on who's in charge that year and where
committees.
it's at in the committees.
That makes sense, I guess.
If the stress of living inside of a point ranking system where one injury can wipe out your season, and then you got the Olympic math that comes into play. It's like, it's one thing where you have an injury that takes you out. That sucks. You can't go. But when you are doing the best you can, but they're like, no, we don't qualify because there's already whatever quota they have. That kind of sucks. That would
Yeah, that would, I mean, because you could be better than every other country's athlete.
But if there's a quota.
But if there's a quota, you don't even get the opportunity to prove that you're at that level. Yeah, that would kind of suck.
All right, let's talk about the rules of the games. Village life, credentials, sponsors, speeches, stuff like that. We know some of this. We know a lot of this happened at the Olympics. I mean, not a lot, but it was brought to light. So when we're talking about how highly controlled it is when you're there, the USA's Olympic Village guides for the Paris style operation included restrictions like quiet hours overnight. I can see that one.
Yeah, because you're not just affecting yourself.
Yeah, you have some people have to be up at 4 or 5 in the morning to go get ready for an event.
Or maybe they just need a good night's sleep.
Well, that too. Well, and I think people need to understand why you're there. You're there to compete.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not there to party.
Yeah.
This is not.
Yep.
And I would assume that it's probably not something that happens a lot anyways, but obviously it's happened enough that
people at that level have a certain professionalism. I'm sure that's not really an issue.
I would hope so.
There's a limit of who can enter housing. Family, friends generally not allowed inside the athletes' housing areas.
That makes sense.
Rules around alcohol bans inside Team USA housing, even after competition. So even if you're done, you can't be.
Well, you're not the only one competing. You're not the only one that's doing anything. Have some freaking common courtesy.
So then it's not just the vibes, it's the performance, security, logistics. You're in a mega event where the village is essentially a controlled environment. Have to have your badge. Seriously. You cannot walk around without that badge. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be one of the most famous athletes out there, but if you don't have those credentials.
I mean, to the layperson, maybe it seems like a big deal, but it seems like such a trivial thing. If I'm at the Olympics, whatever you tell me to, it's going to be yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because I don't want to screw this up for myself. You need me to have a, yellow bandana on at all times, fine.
And so your credentials determine where you can go, what transport you can use, and what zones you can enter. So if you're a skier, downhill skier, you're not necessarily guaranteed you can go hang out with the bobsled team or that area or wherever. Or as soon just because you're not the athlete, you can go.
You can go hang out with whoever and do whatever. Yeah.
You have certain credentials you got to have. They call it Rule 40, which is sponsor marketing limits during games time. So one of the fans almost never know, which is called Rule 40. So Rule 40 is Olympics framework that limits how participants can appear in advertising during defined game period.
So when you hit that ski jump and you come down to the bottom, you can't rip your jersey open and have a Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Pop open a, you know, a Red Bull.
You can't bring your polar bear out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
it's taken away from the whole point of it being the Olympics, I guess.
So
this is not a Coca-Cola commercial.
No. So
whatever.
participants can appear in advertising during a defined game time period to protect official sponsor rights. The IOC's Athletic 360 materials explain that Rule 40 principles on how athletes can engage in commercial activity during the games under those rules. So even if an athlete has a personal sponsor, there are boundaries around what can be posted, what can be implied. What Olympic marks, uniforms can show up in ads, often require permission through the country's specific processes.
I kind of like that rule. Could you imagine what the Olympics would be like? It wouldn't even be the Olympics. It would be the Pepsi games or like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. And
like, I kind of like that they have those in place.
So in the other part of that, and I remember this with the Dream Team, and I remember this was a time where you had, this was the first Dream Team, obviously Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson.
We're like, let's take our best of our best.
Larry Bird, all these guys.
No way you stand a chance.
Their warm-ups were sponsored by a different shoe company than what some of these guys had contracts with. So they were like, well, we don't want to wear it. And they're like, no, you need to wear it. This is who's sponsoring you guys. Yeah. So what they did is some of the athletes took a flag and strategically placed it over the logo. They wore the jumpsuits, whatever they had, the warm-up suits they had to do.
Seriously?
So when they were getting their gold medals, they had flags because they had contracts with these other shoe companies. So
that's the problem you run into when you're taking you're
taking money from
your top dogs out there to compete in a different environment.
Yeah. All right, there's this one called Rule 50, and it limits demonstrations. We saw this one this year with a Ukrainian athlete on his helmet. I can't remember if it was luge, skeleton, or bobsled, but I think he might have been a luge person. But he had on his helmet, he had victims from the war on there, pictures of people who had died. And
so you can't make like statements?
No, they are very much. So it says
again, though, and I understand his point of view, and I understand what the impact he think was behind it, which there probably was. Mm-hmm. But this is the Olympic Games. This is not, the whole point is unity.
But you know, sometimes I want to use this as a platform to bring awareness. And I get, and listen, I'm one way or the other, I'm not going to whatever, but it's not the first time this happened.
I'm not saying that it's the athletes in the wrong. I'm just simply saying I understand why they have the rule.
Right. And we had I remember U.S. time one time, I think this was during the Civil Rights Movement. And I remember some of the track athletes that rose their fist up in the air in protest. Mm-hmm. And people made a big deal about that. So the Rule 50 said guide states demonstrations or propaganda, political, religious, racial, and are restricted in Olympic areas, especially on the field of play, podium settings, with enforcement handled through Olympic structures.
Right. When people are looking at you, don't do that.
Yeah. So that
makes sense.
So the demonstration part, that's a thing that you don't want to see.
Keep your political agenda to yourself.
Right.
In this environment.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Next part, let's talk about doping. All right. Now, this part sounds like a spy movie, but you're registered in a testing pool, anti-doping system, that can require you to provide location information and a daily 60-minute slot where you will be available for testing. That is straight from the WADA's athletic guidance. This is not, oops, I missed one. This is any combination of 3 whereabout failures. Missing a test or filing failures within 12 months can become an anti-doping rule violation.
Well, again, they're protecting their what's the word I'm looking for? Credibility as a society, the Olympic Society. They're protecting their credibility, but also this isn't who can take the best drugs. this is who's the best athlete.
Right. But
we can all go out and take a
when we're
truck.
talking about this, but the one thing about this, I mean, everybody's like, okay, random drug testing, but the thing is, it's like, this is the whereabouts. This is where this whereabout can come in and kind of have to be.
Like they have, like if they say you need to check in this amount of time, you need to be there.
Yeah. So I'll explain it a little more. So it says, now zoom into the games themselves. The Olympics published an event specific anti-doping rules like the Paris in 2024 described how testing authority works, including out of competition testing during a designated period tied to the games. So if you're planning, you can't go on a spontaneous camping trip unless you update your whereabouts. So during it, like as that period, let's say
like
it's
you
a year,
have a downtime.
Let's say you have 6 months or a year that they say that, okay, even if you're not at the games, if we have 6 months before or 9 months before, we need to know where you're at. You can't decide, okay, I'm going to go hiking in the mountains for 3 days. And then all of a sudden you get a phone call saying you missed your test.
Okay. So it's not just when you're present at the Olympics.
Yeah. You need
I could see where that would be.
You need to be findable every day.
Like I could see where that would feel like you were being managed.
And you might be asked to do it with zero notice. Like you need to go down right now and go go take a piss test now. So
I guess if you knew about it going into it, I mean,
yeah, and it's just you need to know whatever the regulations is for that particular sport or that whatever committee says for that Olympic year. You got to be all hands on deck and ready to your urine or blood or whatever they need.
Whatever they need from your hair sample, whatever they do.
Yeah. So what does it take to be an Olympian? It takes training, obviously, but financial endurance to stay in the pipeline long enough, mental endurance to live through the rankings and the quota system, discipline to follow the village and accreditation rules, a branded discipline to operate on Rule 40, and a daily life discipline of whereabouts and testing. Okay?
Okay.
All right. That's basically what it comes down to.
Huh.
Okay. So that's your Olympics.
Not to mention you got to be somebody.
Yeah. You got to be good at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. That's it about our Olympics.
Nice.
All right. Next segment is going to be Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
All right.
Or staying with the Olympic theme.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. Would you rather trip while carrying the torch to the opening ceremony or walk the wrong way with your country's flag in the Parade of Nations?
I think tripping. I take the tripping.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry.
When you're carrying the torch, all eyes on you.
Well, I get
Parade of Nations, there's a lot of other stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff, but the thing is, I don't want to have my flag upside down.
No, it didn't say that. It just said you're walking the wrong way with your nation's country's flag.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. To me, carrying that flag means more than
the torch.
Than the torch. For me, that would be.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, carrying the flag, yes, it's important. Yes, it's kind of the whole purpose of you being there to a degree. All eyes on you when you're carrying the torch.
It's true. No, I get it, but to me, it'd be a greater honor to carry.
You might be able to play off. You might be able to play off that you were going the wrong way. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Question number 2. Would you rather hear your coach whisper, "Just have fun," right before you compete against Simone Biles, or "No pressure, the whole country is watching"?
Just have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, because ultimately, it should be fun. I mean, you're competing, you're wanting to win, and that's.
But you're doing the whole reason you started in this. Hopefully, was because you had a passion for it.
You had fun.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I thought it was funny. No pressure. The whole country's watching. Thanks.
Thanks, coach.
Okay. Would you rather win silver and have your anthem played in kazoo form, or win bronze and have to sing your own national anthem on TV?
Probably silver. Yeah, I still would want the silver.
I
would still want silver. I'm not saying I can't sing. I can't sing, but I would want the silver if they had to play. I would be
terrified. No matter how many times no matter how well I knew that song, I would be terrified that I would screw it up and never live it down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Versus an annoying sound for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, the kazoo is really annoying.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, yes, the silver would be better anyways, but I would be terrified screwing that up.
Bronze. I don't know.
Okay. Would you rather break a world record but celebrate too early like Maurice Green and get passed at the finish line, or win by accident because everyone else false started?
Man, it would suck because you don't know if you were the best because everybody false started.
Yes, I agree. You knew you were the best. That was on you, 100%. You're an idiot.
Still, though, I think it would be more embarrassing, like with Green, to know that I had a 1 and then I was an idiot and I got too prideful or too arrogant,
too cocky,
and I ended up losing.
For sure.
I think at the false start.
You'd rather have the false start.
I think I'd rather have a false start.
I don't know. I don't consider I'm a very competitive person, but I do not consider myself to be cocky, and maybe I'm wrong. I do not consider myself to be a cocky person. I cannot imagine being that confident in yourself that before you had actually won, you start celebrating.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I'm sorry. I know
and I remember it happened.
I know it happens. It happens the other day in a football game.
Yeah.
Like, he dropped the ball before he even crossed. I'm like,
yep.
In what world? I'm like, where is your brain? So, okay. So you'd rather have the false start?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Just so I could have the win because I had it to begin with, that I'm an idiot.
Well, it's the other people's fault for false starting too.
True story. All right. Would you rather compete in beach volleyball during a surprise snowstorm or do figure skating where there is sand on the rink?
A surprise snowstorm.
I was like, that's an easy one.
No.
I don't know. I'll get a little bit cold. I'm not going to be cold anyways.
Yeah, no.
And it's still softer landing.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. I don't imagine that sand and ice go together very well when you're skating. Okay. 2 more. Would you rather have your most intense game face be compared to looking like Shrek, or your victory pose turned into the next viral meme? You're never going to live that one down.
But I won, though, right?
I know. That's my thoughts.
I think I won. I'm not going to, even if it becomes viral because I had a goofy face.
My game face is
and my
scary.
game face is stupid. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, so I'm a mean. I
just won gold. Kiss my butt. And I got a gold medal. You don't.
Right? Who cares? Okay, last question. Would you rather dream that you had trained for 4 years only to show up to the Olympics and find out it was the wrong sport and you have to compete anyways, or dream that you showed up to the Olympic Games without any pants and you have to compete in all of your events pantsless? So you dreamed both of these, but they came true. You had to pick one.
I think being pantless. I still want to compete.
You're going to compete.
Right.
You're just competing in something you did not train for.
No, I'm going to train for I want to go to the ones I'm doing. If I'm doing ice skating and I got to be pantless to do ice skating.
They practically
are anyways. I got a thin piece of fabric.
Right.
And
yeah, but at least it's covered things.
Just don't fall.
So you'd rather
more motivation, more motivation not to fall on the ice. Yeah.
Could you imagine going down the moguls though?
That would not be good.
How painful that would be.
Nope. I'll pass.
No, but you said you were going to compete pantsless. That's your event.
That's my event. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for that segment.
Yeah.
That was a good one. All right. Last segment is our mascot of the week. All right. So we always look at different mascots that are unique or different. This week, we're going to the state of Ohio. Ohio.
Never been there.
Never been there either.
Never even been close.
No, never been close either. We're going to Crooksville. 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 Okay. Crooksville High School. It is in the district of the Crooksville Exempted Village Schools. Its population is from 9th grade to 12th grade, 306.
Exempted? Are these like special schools?
I don't know what that means. That's just their district's called. So the roots behind this school is rooted from their local industry, but a lot of times this happens. Yeah. Crooksville is sites for rich clay and coal deposits, fueled major pottery industries. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, the region was known as the pottery center of the world. Major companies like Hull Pottery operated in the town and gained national recognition. Are they
the Potters?
No. The town even carries nicknames like Clay City of Perry County, Pottery Land, USA.
Who's calling them these self-appointed nicknames?
Okay. So both schools pick something fierce. Crooksville picks something that is fired at 2,000 degrees.
The kilns?
Ceramics.
The ceramics.
They are the Crooksville Ceramics.
Ceramics are fragile.
Yeah. But,
although when you bust them, you got shards of ceramics, which are pretty tough.
Cut the heck out of people. Their location is in Perry County, southeastern Ohio, along the Moxahala Creek. I think that's how you pronounce it. The large city hubs is Zanesville and New Lexington. Residents of the population of the town is 2,400 people. It's part of the Appalachian, Ohio community, so kind of tucked away in the mountain site. Am I assuming there's
I'm assuming it's
southeast, east part of it.
So,
town history, like I said, relies on pottery, manufacturing, clay mining, coal mining, rail shipping of ceramic goods. Pottery once dominated daily life. Many farms even had small kilns. Today, today, many small manufacturing town. Economy is the small town services remaining light industry. Many residents commute to nearby cities. Community still celebrates the pottery heritage with an annual pottery festival.
That'd be cool to go check out.
Yeah. Cost of living, home value is about $136,000. Median sale price is $159,000. Median listing price is anywhere from $172,000 to $194,000. Pretty affordable.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Terrible.
Generally, cost of living is below the U.S. average. Typical rural.
How big of a town is it?
2,400.
It's so small town.
Yeah.
What's their mascot look like? It's the ceramics?
Yeah. So it shows this person on a wheel with like a vase, a pottery wheel. Yeah, with a vase. Looks like they're red and black and white.
Terrifying.
They got their field looks nice. They got a big old nice track. They got a brand new, looks like a brand new track in a turf field. Yeah, nice stadium. I'd be
curious to go just to hear them chant their
name.
Yeah. Like it's not like Indians or pirates.
Yeah.
Ceramics.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I always appreciate it when it has to do with their economic.
Yeah, it ties to their history. Yeah. What else do we got here? State titles. 1977, they won a football state championship. They compete in the Muskingum Valley League. Tradition of small school athletics. Notable athletes or alumni. David Tuffy Knight, a successful Canadian university football coach. Rich Newbro was also a Canadian football coach. So apparently these coaches go up and coach in Canada. So yeah, that is our mascot of the week, the ceramics.
Interesting.
Right here. I also want to point out, if you see that, I was the winner. I won our fantasy football here. And so I got a trophy. Assuming this trophy will get passed around year to year.
I'm sure.
As long as the league goes around. But yeah, I got it for 1 year. I got a trophy. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna have to get something back here to do it.
Display
it.
Mini Lombardi.
Things going on. Still, May 2nd is Colston Loveland's Special Olympics charity golf tournament. Slots for being in the actual golf tournament are already filled, but they do have stuff for luncheon still going on. There's going to be prizes and stuff like that going on too as well. Other things going on. Can't think really anything going on. Bananas ball coming
up.
Tracks coming up. Yeah, track and field. Spring sports basically starting tomorrow. Softball.
For
high school. Softball's in Idaho. Softball's starting practices on Monday. I think track and field might be another week or two.
I think ours started. High school started.
Well, I know boys state basketball still going on. So boys state basketball going on.
That's if your school made it.
She made it. Boys basketball state starts. Wrestling just finished up for Idaho. So that's all done.
Nice.
Hey, I want to thank my listeners. Lithuania, Singapore, France, Spain, still Finland. So yeah, Australia. Everybody who's listening internationally and stateside. I appreciate you listening. And that's it for everybody. Everybody take care of yourself. All right.